Hey guys, it's Brian here from the Rocket Shop up in Saskatchewan. Today I got a kind of a special treat for you. If you're a tunnel ram guy like me, I'm going to give you a tip about tuning your tunnel ram. I switched over to running a tunnel ram on my big block Chevy race car 6 or 7 years ago, and I had a few initial hiccups trying to get it sorted out. But after I learned this little trick, this little tip, it helped me a lot. A friend of mine told me that you'll pick up at least 2/10 on your big block Chevy with a tunnel ram over a Super Victor and a 1050 Dominator. And he was right. And I did really well with it, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm never going to go back. But when I initially put the tunnel ram on, I bought two brand new carburetors. I bought Holley 750 Track Warriors, which are not designed for using two of them together on a tunnel ram. They're not tuned for that. Anybody will tell you that the best thing to do is to buy a pair of tuned carburetors made for a tunnel ram. But I wanted to save a few bucks, and so that's what I bought. I bought two 750 Track Warriors. And after I learned this little trick I'm about to show you, they worked awesome. But it took me a while to figure it out. And if someone would have been there to help me or told me this trick, it would have saved me a lot of headache. So that's what I'm sharing with you. When I first put the carburetors on, the thing was horribly rich. Like, it's a drag car, but it still needs to drive around a little bit in the pits. I take it to a car show nearby, and it has to run decent. I don't want it spewing black smoke and running pig rich. And I had an air-fuel ratio gauge on it, and at a slow cruise RPM, it was like 10-to-1 air-fuel ratio, which was horrible. And I didn't know what to do about it. So I went through a whole tuning sequence, and remember, these were brand new carburetors. I was using the Wyand Street tunnel ram, which is the one they still make, rectangle port. I had it on a 540 pump gas motor, making 750 horsepower kind of zone. It was running 990s with a Super Victor and a 1050 Dominator. So I had to figure out why it was running so rich at slow cruise speeds. So the first thing I did was play with the main jets. I worried about the power valve opening too soon. I worried that the secondaries were doing something they shouldn't have been. So I took the secondary linkage right off. I plugged the power valves, and I drove it, and it did the same thing. So those weren't the problems. No extra fuel was coming in through the power valve or on the secondary side. And a tunnel ram with two carburetors should run just fine at low speeds. With two carburetors, you have very little throttle opening, and you have the extra tunability of more idle circuits. So when I did those two things, the problem was still there, so then I looked at the main jets, and that was a mistake. My first thought was to lean it up, and that worked. I leaned it up on the primary side, and it ran just fine. So I thought, okay, well, so I went to the track, and the thing was slow. Like, I slowed down from where it was running with the single 4-barrel. Well, that's because I leaned up the main jets. It was running lean. It didn't like that. I was too dumb to notice that leaning up the main jets leans up the low speed and the wide open. So that was a problem. So I needed to just work on that slow cruise RPM speed without touching the main jets. I was ready to take my tunnel ram off and give up. Then I was doing some reading and studying, and I learned about something called idle jets. And so here's what I'm going to show you. Here is a metering block it's actually off a pair of Dominators, but It's not the carburetor I'm using right now, but I'm going to use this for showing you what I'm talking about. So if you look at this circuit here, at the top of this cutout, I don't know what the proper terminology is for it, there's a little wee jet. And on this Dominator, it's an 8/32 threaded jet, tiny little brass jet with a hole through it. This jet, which is called the idle jet, controls that low RPM, just off idle air-fuel ratio. And when you buy a carburetor that's designed to be just used one at a time, that jet is too big. So what you need to do is resize that jet. And here's how you do it. You have to have a carburetor that has removable idle jets. Most of the new carburetors with billet metering blocks have removable idle jets. If you don't have removable idle jets, you could try epoxying the hole shut and then drilling it to a smaller size, or you could even put a tiny little wire through it that will act as a restriction. But if you have removable idle jets, it makes it easy. So here's the way I fixed it, and it worked really good. First of all, you need to measure what size it is. So you can buy these tiny little pin drills. I bought them off Amazon or at Princess Auto. And since there's no stamping on these to what size they are, you use your pin drills to measure the size. So you put the pin drill bit through it, and you keep working your way up until the next size won't go through it. And so for me, these pin drills, there's a 33 thou and a 35 thou. The 33 will go through and feels a little bit loose, and the 35 won't go through. So that means it's a 34. So that's a 34 thousandths, so that's 0.034. And on my 750 Track Warriors, I bought blank idle jets. So the part number from Quick Fuel is 7-7, and that's a 6/32 idle jet, which I believe is the size of thread for a 4150 style carburetor. At least that's what it was on the Holley Track Warrior. So the next thing you need to do is drill a hole through those tiny little blanks. So what I did was drill and tap a hole through a piece of scrap iron so that you can thread your idle jet into the scrap iron to hold it nice and sturdy. So I did that, threaded in my idle jet. You use it to get, well, on these ones it's a 5/64, on these ones it's a flat blade screwdriver. Thread them into the hole and drill them through, and I went to a 29, and that worked really good. So I went from a 34 to a 29. And that made a big difference. Suddenly, the thing drove down the road at about a 13-to-1 air-fuel ratio, which is really nice for a drag car. And I was really happy with that. And then I could put my main jets back to where they were supposed to be, and in the end, the car went 0.2 faster in the quarter mile. It went from a 990 to a 970, just putting on a tunnel ram with two 750s. So that's the tip I want to give you today. I'm not saying that's the answer to all carburetors, but that's the answer for the Holley 750 Track Warrior on my pump gas 540, and it worked really good. And I just want to say one other little thing before I finish this up. Currently, I've switched over to the Profiler tunnel ram, and it works really good. I really like it. I made my own top plate for the 750s because Profiler only makes a dual Dominator top plate. And my next plan is to actually switch to a pair of Dominators, which I have here. But when I put them on, when I bought the Profiler top and put them on, I realized that there's just about no room for linkage, and there's no room for air cleaners because the carburetors are too close together. So just as an added bonus, a little new product that I'm selling, is I've gotten laser cut dual dominator tops for the Profiler tunnel ram. This spreads the carburetors out to 9 1/16 inches apart. You actually have to use a wedge-headed bolt in the end because the carburetor covers one of the mounting bolts a little bit. And then you can use 2 air cleaners, and the air cleaners don't interfere with each other. So the air cleaner that I like to use is the K&N 60-1366. So you can run 2 of those air cleaners with a pair of dominators on the Profiler tunnel ram with this top. If you want one of these, let me know. I got one made and I'm going to make more. So that's a good tip for running a tunnel ram, and I hope this helps you out. Tunnel rams work awesome. Don't be afraid of them. If you have a drag car and you want to go faster and you have a single 4-barrel, 2 4-barrels in a tunnel ram works. Thanks a lot for listening, and please subscribe to my channel, and God bless you.